The sky above the alien palace was filled with thick black smoke. Fires burned in the far distance. Explosions echoed like angry drums across the ruined city. The great empire of the Zarelia was falling. Inside the throne room, Queen Zarelia stood still. Her silver skin glowed under the fading lights, and her eyes, once sharp and proud, were now full of sadness. She held a broken crown in her hand. Her long white hair was tied back, but loose strands stuck to her face. Her golden armor was scratched and dented from the last battle. Around her, royal guards stood in silence. No one spoke. No one dared. Zarelia looked at the throne, then at the empty seat beside it. That seat belonged to her daughter, Leora, but Leora was gone. It's taken by the humans during the early raids. The queen had sent ships, scouts, and spies. All had failed. Some never returned. The last message from the enemy had said only one word: lost. A tall advisor stepped forward. He bowed low. His voice was soft but firm. Your Majesty, we must retreat to the homeworld. Earth is no longer safe. The queen did not answer at once. Her eyes were on the sky through the broken window. She remembered Leora's laugh, her joy, her dreams of peace, all gone, stolen. She turned slowly. Her voice was cold and clear. Prepare the fleet, burn what remains. Let Earth become ashes. The guards moved quickly. But then a noise came from the far end of the hall. Heavy doors opened. 2 alien soldiers dragged a prisoner between them. Human man, blood on his face, cuts on his arms, but his eyes were strong. He did not fall, even as they shoved him forward. The queen raised a hand. The room froze. Who is this? She asked. One of the guards replied. A soldier from the rebel group in Sector 9. He was found near the old research lab. The queen stepped down from the throne. She walked slowly to the prisoner. Her silver boots echoed on the stone floor. She stopped a few feet away from him. He looked up at her. You are the queen, he said. And you are the enemy, she replied. My name is Ryan, he said. I came here not to fight. I came to find your daughter. Gasps filled the hall. The queen's face changed. A mix of anger and surprise. You dare speak of her? She is alive, Ryan said. I saw her once, in a secret base. I can take you there. The queen's hands shook. She clenched them into fists. Liar. I heard it from your people. She is lost. Not lost, Ryan said. Hidden. Locked away. I escaped that place. I know the way back. Give me a chance. I will bring her to you. The queen turned her back. Her voice trembled. Even if you speak the truth, why would you help me? Because I saw her cry, he said. Because she spoke your name in her sleep. Because no mother should live with that pain. For a long moment, no one spoke. The hall was silent. The queen walked back to her throne. She sat down, eyes closed. You will go, she said. But know this. If you lie, you will not return. If you fail, no one will search for you. Ryan nodded. I understand. Take him to the gates, she ordered. Give him what he needs, then let fate decide. The guards hesitated, then moved. Ryan was pulled to his feet. As he was taken away, the queen opened her eyes. A single tear ran down her cheek. I will never see her again, she whispered. But somewhere deep inside her, a small voice asked, what if he was telling the truth? And in that moment, a thin thread of hope began to form in her heart. Ryan stood at the edge of the landing platform. Cold wind blew against his face. He looked out at the smoking horizon. His arms were sore and his legs were weak, but his mind was clear. He had been given one chance, one mission. Find the princess or die trying. A small hovercraft was prepared for him. It was old but fast. 2 guards handed him a pack. Inside were food, water, a small weapon, and a map. No one spoke to him. No one wished him luck. He climbed into the craft. As the engines came to life, he looked back once. High above the palace, the queen stood on a balcony. She did not wave. She only watched. Ryan nodded once and took off into the sky. The world below was broken. Cities once full of life were now empty shells. Roads were cracked, and buildings lay in pieces. Ryan flew low, avoiding alien patrols. His target was far. A hidden base deep in the northern wastelands. He had escaped from it weeks ago. He hoped the path was still open. After flying for hours, he landed near the ruins of an old town. The sun was going down. He needed to rest. He hid the craft under debris and climbed into a broken building. As he sat against a wall, he opened the food pack. The bread was dry, but he ate it anyway. Suddenly, a sound came from outside. He reached for his weapon and stood still. A shadow moved near the doorway. A figure stepped in. A woman. Her hair was short and her clothes were dirty, but her eyes were sharp. "Drop the weapon," she said. Her voice was calm but firm. "I don't want trouble," Ryan said. "I'm not your enemy." She looked him over. "You're human, but not from here." "Escape from the alien base," he said. "I'm going back to find someone." "That's foolish," she said. "No one comes out of that place alive." "I did," Ryan said, "and I'm going back in." She paused, then lowered her weapon. "My name is Carla. I used to work in that base, before it was taken over." "Then you know the way in?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, but I swore never to return." "I need your help," Ryan said. "A young girl is trapped there, the daughter of the queen." Carla frowned. "We're working for the aliens, no," he said. "I'm working for peace. If I can bring her back, maybe the war can end." Carla looked at him for a long time. Then she sat down beside him. "If we're doing this, we'll need supplies, and we'll need to move at night." Ryan gave a small smile. "Then we start tomorrow." The next day they moved carefully. Carla knew secret paths, walked through forests and empty towns. At night they rested in quiet places. During the day, they kept low. Ryan told her about Leora, the princess, about the pain in the queen's eyes. Carla listened, though she said little. On the fourth day, they reached a hill. Below it lay the prison base. Its tall walls, dark towers, and lights that scanned the ground. Ryan felt his heart race. "That's it," he said. "We go in tonight," Carla said. "There's a tunnel. It's hidden under that ridge, but the entrance is locked. Can you open it?" She nodded. "I need time. Keep watch while I work." As night fell, they crept toward the ridge. Carla knelt near a metal plate. She pulled out tools and began to work. Sparks flew. Wires twisted. Ryan kept his eyes on the towers. He saw guards moving. Drones flying overhead. After 20 minutes, the plate slid open. A narrow tunnel lay below. "Let's go," Carla said. Ryan took one last look at the base above, then followed her into the dark tunnel. The air was cold and damp. The walls were tight, but they kept going. At the end of the tunnel, a small door led into the lower levels of the base. Carla placed her hand on the scanner. The door opened with a soft click. Ryan stepped through. He was back. Now the real search would begin. The hallway was dark and cold. Pipes ran along the walls and steam hissed from broken vents. Ryan held his small light in one hand and his weapon in the other. Carla moved beside him, checking every corner. They were now deep inside the alien base. Ryan could feel the fear growing inside him. The last time he was here, he had barely escaped with his life. But now he had a reason to return, a promise to keep. Somewhere in this place, the queen's daughter was still alive. Carla stopped near a steel door. She placed her ear against it. Voices she whispered, "Guards are close." Ryan nodded. They backed away and found another path. They moved quietly, using dark corners and old air ducts to stay hidden. Every sound felt louder in the silence. Every step could be their last. After an hour, they reached a control room. Carla entered and closed the door behind them. The room was filled with screens, buttons, and wires. Carla sat at the main console and turned on a few monitors. "Give me a minute," she said. "I'll check the prisoner records." Ryan stood by the door, watching the hallway. His hands were tight around his weapon. He remembered the faces of the guards, the electric fences, the screams of other prisoners. He had promised the queen he would find her daughter. He would not break that promise. "Found something," Carla said. "There's a room on the lower level. It's marked restricted. One prisoner. High security female." "That has to be her," Ryan said. "It won't be easy," Carla warned. "That level is guarded day and night. We need a plan." Ryan looked at the map on the screen, pointed to a tunnel near the outer wall. "What about this path?" Can we use it to reach the lower level? Yes, Carla said. But we'll need a passcode. We have to move fast. Carla searched the files again and found an old code used by a security officer. It might still work. She copied it to a small device. They left the control room and moved again through narrow hallways. Ryan could feel the air getting colder. The deeper they went, the more dangerous it became. At one point, they had to hide behind crates as two guards walked by. Ryan held his breath until they were gone. Finally, they reached the tunnel. It was damp and filled with dust. Lights flickered on the ceiling. Carla entered the code. The door creaked open. Ryan went in first, weapon ready. At the end of the tunnel was another door. Carla tried the code again. This time, the door opened slowly. Inside was a small cell with a single light. A girl sat on the floor. Her clothes were torn. Her long hair was dirty, but her face was calm. She looked up when they entered. "Who are you?" she asked. "I'm Ryan," he said. "I came to take you home." She stood slowly. Her legs were weak. Ryan stepped forward and held out his hand. "Your mother sent me," he said. "She thought you were lost, but I promised to find you." The girl looked at him for a long time. Then she reached out and touched his hand. "My name is Leora," she said. Carla helped support her. Together, they left the cell and entered the tunnel again. But as they moved back toward the exit, alarms began to ring. Red lights flashed. Loud voices filled the air. "They found us," Carla said. "We keep going," Ryan said. They ran through the tunnel. Leora could barely keep up, but Ryan carried her when she stumbled. Guards appeared behind them. Shots were fired. Sparks flew. They reached a door that led outside. Carla pressed the open switch. Nothing happened. "It's locked," she shouted. Ryan set Leora down and fired at the door controls. The sparks lit up the room. Carla tried again. This time, the door opened. They rushed out into the cold night air. Snow was falling. The sound of alarms faded behind them. In the distance, Ryan saw the old hovercraft. "We're almost there," he said. Carla nodded.
Yes.
"Let's go." Ryan carried Leora as they ran across the icy ground. The battle was not over yet, but she was alive. And he had kept his word. They still had to escape. But hope was now with them. Snow covered the ground in thick layers. The wind howled through the broken trees. Ryan ran as fast as he could, holding Leora in his arms. Behind him, Carla followed, breathing hard. The alarms from the alien base still echoed in the distance. They had escaped, but they were not safe. The old hovercraft sat under a blanket of snow. Ryan placed Leora inside and turned to help Carla climb in. He jumped into the pilot seat and started the engine. It made a loud noise, but after a few seconds it came to life. Ryan pushed the controls and the craft lifted off the ground. Red lights appeared behind them. Alien drones rose into the sky, chasing them. "They're coming," Carla said. Ryan flew low, keeping close to the ground. Trees rushed past them. He weaved through hills and valleys, trying to lose the drones. Leora lay in the back, her eyes closed. She was weak, but alive. Lasers shot past the craft. One hit the side and made a loud bang. Sparks flew. The hovercraft shook. "Can't take many hits," Carla said. "I know," Ryan replied. "We need to hide." He turned sharply and flew into a deep canyon. The walls rose high on both sides. The drones followed, but the space was tight. One of them hit a rock and exploded. The others slowed down. Ryan spotted a cave at the end of the canyon. He flew straight toward it. As they entered the dark space, the hovercraft's lights lit the rocky walls. He landed deep inside the cave and turned off the engine. They sat in silence. No sound came from outside. Ryan looked at Carla. "Do you think they saw us go in?" "Maybe," she said. "But this place is hard to scan. We might be safe for now." Ryan checked on Leora. Her breathing was slow but steady. "We need to help her," he said. Carla opened the supply pack and pulled out a small medical kit. She cleaned Leora's wounds and gave her water. Slowly, color returned to the girl's face. "Thank you," she whispered. Ryan smiled. "We're not done yet. We still have a long way to go." They stayed in the cave for the night. Ryan took the first watch. The wind outside grew stronger. He sat near the entrance, eyes open, weapon ready. In the morning, the wind had calmed. Carla checked the craft. "One of the engines is damaged," she said. "We can't fly far, and we travel on foot," Ryan said. He helped Leora out of the craft. He wrapped her in blankets. The snow was deep, but the sun was out. They began walking toward the south, where an old human camp was said to be hidden in the mountains. Each step was hard. Carla limped, and Leora leaned on Ryan for support. They walked for hours. Birds flew above them. Sky was clear, but the cold bit at their skin. Suddenly, a sound came from behind. Ryan turned. A shadow moved between the trees. He raised his weapon. "Something's coming," he said. A group of alien soldiers stepped out. They wore black armor and held sharp weapons. At the front was a tall commander with red markings on his face. "Give us the girl," the commander said. Ryan stood in front of Leora. "She's not yours." "She is the daughter of our enemy," the commander said. "Her life ends here." Ryan fired. The blast hit one of the soldiers. The others rushed forward. Carla took cover and returned fire. Snow flew into the air. The sound of battle filled the forest. The commander came straight at Ryan. They fought hand to hand. Ryan blocked a strike and pushed back. He used his weapon like a staff, swinging hard. The commander hit him in the side. Ryan fell, but rolled and stood again. Leora picked up a sharp stick and threw it. It hit the commander's arm. He turned, giving Ryan a chance. Ryan struck him in the chest. The commander fell. The other soldiers ran. The battle was over. Ryan dropped to his knees. Blood ran from his lip. Carla helped him up. "Shh, you did it," she said. He looked at Leora. She was shaking but safe. "We're close," he said. Just a little further, and they started walking again, step by step, toward hope. The snowstorm came fast. The wind pushed hard, and the cold cut like sharp glass. Ryan held Leora close as they moved through the white blur. Carla walked behind them, her face red from the cold. Every step was heavy. Their legs were tired, and their boots sank into the deep snow. They had been walking for hours. The old map showed the hidden camp was not far, but now the trail was gone. The storm had erased it. Ryan stopped for a moment. He looked around, but everything looked the same. White. Endless white. "We have to keep moving," Carla said. Her voice was weak. "I know," Ryan replied. "But we need shelter. She won't last long in this cold." Leora leaned against him. Her eyes were half closed. Ryan knew she was losing strength. Looked ahead and saw a line of dark rocks. He moved toward them, hoping for a cave or even a space between stones. Behind the rocks, they found a small opening. It was barely large enough to crawl into, but inside, it was dry and out of the wind. They got in one by one. Ryan wrapped Leora in a thick blanket. Carla lit a small heat pack and placed it near her. For a while, they just sat in silence. The wind roared outside, but inside, it was quiet. Ryan looked at the girl. Her breathing was slow, but she was alive. Carla checked her pulse. "She's weak, but she'll make it through the night," Carla said. Ryan nodded. He leaned back and closed his eyes, just for a moment. His mind was full of memories. The Queen's voice. The day he made the promise. The moment he saw Leora in the prison cell. All of it felt like a dream. The next morning, the storm had passed. The sun shone weakly through the clouds. They stepped out of the cave and looked around. In the distance, smoke rose from behind a hill. "That might be the camp," Ryan said. They began to walk again. The snow was still deep, but they moved faster now. Hope gave them strength. After an hour, they reached the top of the hill. Below them was the camp. Old, hidden, and covered in nets and branches, but it was real. Ryan smiled. Carla gave a short laugh. They moved down the hill and entered the camp. People came out, surprised. Most were human. A few were aliens. Their faces showed shock, then welcome. An older man stepped forward. "You made it," he said. "We thought no one could escape that place." "We did," Ryan said. "We brought her back." They took Leora to a warm shelter. Doctors worked to help her. Ryan and Carla sat outside, wrapped in thick blankets. Hot food was passed to them. The first time in days they felt safe. But safety would not last. Drones had followed them. One had seen the smoke. One had sent a message. That night, as the camp rested, a loud sound filled the sky. A deep hum, then lights. Alien ships. Ryan jumped to his feet. They found us. People ran. Alarms rang. Carla grabbed a weapon. Ryan rushed to the shelter. "We have to move her," he said. The doctors looked at him. "She's not ready." "She doesn't have a choice," Carla said. They placed Leora on a sled and covered her with warm cloth. Ryan pulled the sled. Carla led the way. The camp was already under attack. Fires burned. Explosions lit the night. They slipped through a narrow path behind the camp. Shots rang out behind them. A drone spotted them and fired. Carla shot back, hitting it. The drone crashed into the snow. They kept running. Ryan's arms burned from pulling the sled. His legs felt heavy. But he did not stop. He had promised to bring her home. After what felt like forever, they reached a flat area. A small ship was parked there. A man stood beside it, waving. "I got your signal," he shouted. "Let's go." They loaded Leora into the ship. Ryan climbed in after her. Carla sat beside the pilot. The ship lifted into the air as they rose above the mountains. Ryan looked out the window. The camp burned in the distance, but they were safe. He held Leora's hand. Her eyes opened slightly. "Are we going home?" she asked. "Yes," Ryan said. "We are going home." The ship flew through the clouds, fast and smooth. Inside, Ryan sat beside Leora. She was still weak, but her color had returned. Her hand rested in his. Carla sat near the front, watching the radar. The pilot, a quiet man named Evan, flew with focus. "We should reach the Queen's palace in a few hours," Evan said. Ryan nodded. He looked out the window. The sky was clear, but his heart was not. He had come so far, fought so hard, and now the end was near. We didn't know what would happen next. Leora opened her eyes and looked at him. "Will she be angry with me?" she asked. "No," Ryan said. "She thought she lost you. She'll be happy." Leora gave a small smile and closed her eyes again. As the ship moved closer to the alien lands, Ryan saw the great towers of the Queen's palace in the distance. The silver buildings rose from the ground like mountains. Lights flashed around them. Guards flew in small patrol ships. "We're entering her airspace," Evan said. "They've seen us." Moments later, 2 royal ships flew beside them. A message came through the speaker. "Identify yourself." Evan answered, "We have the Queen's daughter. You're bringing her home." There was silence. Then the ships moved to guide them. The ship landed on a high platform near the palace gates. Guards were waiting. Their eyes grew wide when they saw Leora. One of them ran to send the message to the Queen. Ryan carried Leora in his arms. Carla walked beside him. The guards opened the doors to the palace. Inside, the grand hall was full of light. Tall windows showed the sky. Soft blue lights glowed on the floor. At the end of the hall stood Queen Zarelia. She wore a long robe of silver and blue. Her crown rested lightly on her head. Her eyes were fixed on Ryan. He walked toward her step by step. The hall was quiet. Three guards stood still. Carla stopped a few steps behind. Ryan reached the Queen and lowered Leora to her feet. The girl stood weakly, holding Ryan's arm. The Queen stepped forward. Her hands trembled. "Leora," she said. Leora looked at her and smiled. "Mother." The Queen pulled her into a hug. For a long moment, they said nothing, just held each other. The hall remained silent. Tears rolled down the Queen's face. She looked at Ryan. "You did what no one else could. You brought her back." Ryan nodded. "I made a promise. You kept it," the Queen said. Even when there was no reason to, she turned to her guards. "Prepare a room for my daughter. Bring the best healers." Leora was taken gently by the guards. She looked back at Ryan before they led her away. The Queen faced him again. "You risked everything," she said. "Why did you do it?" "Because I saw her pain," Ryan said. "Because I saw yours. Because peace needs a reason to begin." Carla stepped forward. "He's telling the truth. He saved both of us." The Queen studied them. Then she gave a soft nod. "You asked for peace, yet my people remember war." "Peace must begin with one step," Ryan said. "Let this be the first." The Queen looked at the large doors behind her. Then she turned back to him. "Come back tomorrow," she said. "We will speak again." Guards led Ryan and Carla to a guest room. For the first time in many days, they slept in warm beds. Ryan closed his eyes and felt the weight of the journey fall away. The next day, he stood once more in the grand hall. This time, the queen was not alone. Her advisors stood beside her. Leora sat quietly on a chair nearby, wrapped in soft cloth, her face calm. The queen looked at Ryan. "I have spoken with my council. You have earned the right to speak." Ryan stepped forward. He spoke of war, of loss, of hope. He asked for talks, for understanding, for chance. When he finished, the hall was silent. Then the queen stood. "Very well," she said, "let the talks begin." So a new chapter was ready to start. One born from a promise kept, and the courage to believe in peace. Months passed. The world had changed. The war was not over everywhere, but it had stopped in many places. The queen kept her word. She began peace talks with human leaders. Ryan was invited to speak at many of the meetings. Carla helped as a translator and advisor. Together, they worked to build a new path. The palace had opened its gates to humans for the first time. Soldiers and workers from both sides now walked the same halls. The tension had not fully gone, but there was less fear in people's eyes, more hope. Ryan often visited Leora. She was healing well. Her body grew stronger, and so did her voice. She liked to sit in the palace garden. They talked about everything, from the stars to food to peace.
One afternoon,
Leora asked him, "Will you go home now?" "Maybe," Ryan said. "But I feel like this is home too," she smiled. "Then stay. We need people like you." Later that day, a great gathering was held in the city center. The queen was going to speak. Humans and aliens stood side by side. The sky was clear, and the air was calm. Ryan stood near the front with Carla. Around them were leaders, families, and children. All eyes turned as the queen stepped onto the high platform. She wore a simple robe, no crown, no armor. She looked over the crowd and spoke. "There was a time when I believed peace was not possible. I believed anger and pain would rule forever. I believed my daughter was lost. And I believed all humans were my enemy." She paused and looked toward Ryan. But one man crossed the fire. He broke through the wall. He found what was lost. And he returned not with weapons, but with hope. The crowd stayed silent. "Today," she said, "we begin a new time. A time of healing. A time of rebuilding. This peace will not be easy, but it will be worth it." People began to clap, slowly at first, then louder. Some smiled. Some cried. After the speech, Ryan was asked to come forward. He walked to the stage and looked at the people. For a moment, he felt small. Then he spoke. "I am not a hero," he said. "I was just a soldier. I saw pain and decided to stop running from it. Made a promise, and I kept it. We all can do the same." That night, lights filled the sky. Both humans and aliens celebrated. Music played in the streets. The palace gates stayed open. It was not the end of trouble, but it was the start of something better. Ryan sat alone in the garden later that night. The stars were bright. He thought about his past, the battles, the faces he lost. He thought about the queen's words, thought about Leora's smile. Carla walked over and sat beside him. "Do you think it will last?" she asked. "I don't know," Ryan said, "but I believe it can." She nodded. "Then that's enough for now." From the top of the palace, the queen looked down. She saw her daughter laughing with others. She saw the people gathered in peace. She thought of the day she had said, "I'll never see my daughter again." She had been wrong. Far away, in places still broken, other leaders saw what had happened. Some doubted it, some hated it, but some were curious. If one soldier could change a queen's heart, maybe others could change too. In the weeks that followed, more messages came in. Some were cold, some were warm, but all of them were signs that the world was listening. Ryan stayed in the palace as an advisor. Carla began training young diplomats. Leora helped rebuild cities. The queen led with more calm than before. She smiled more. She walked through her halls not as a ruler of war, but as a mother who had found her child again. The story of the soldier and the queen spread across both worlds. It was told in homes, in schools, and in stories passed from old to young. And it all began with a promise and the will to keep it.